Do you say yes when everything inside you is screaming no? You smile, you agree, you say, sure, no problem. And then you go home and feel completely hollow. If that sounds familiar, this video is going to explain exactly why that happens. Welcome to Simple Everyday Psychology channel, where we turn everyday psychological struggles into simple, science-backed solutions. Here's the thing most people get wrong about people-pleasing. They think it's just a personality trait, like being too nice or too agreeable. But it's actually a coping mechanism. It's something your brain learned to do, because at some point, keeping other people happy felt like the safest way to stay safe yourself. And today, we're going to break that pattern using actual CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, techniques that therapists use with real clients. Not vague advice like, just love yourself more. Actual steps you can practice starting today. We'll cover why your brain defaults to yes, what's really happening psychologically when you can't say no, and then we'll go through a set of CBT tools that will help you say no without the guilt spiral that usually follows. There's also a free worksheet linked in the description that goes with this video, so keep that in mind. Let's start with the problem, because understanding it is half the battle. Picture this. Your boss walks over at 4:45 on a Friday and asks if you can take on one more project. You're already running on empty. You have plans, you're exhausted, and yet, before your brain even has a chance to think, you hear yourself say, "Yeah, of course, no problem." And you immediately feel that little drop in your stomach. That's not kindness, that's fear wearing a smile. Would you judge a friend for saying no to you? This one is powerful. Most people pleasers hold themselves to a completely different standard than they hold everyone else. If your friend said, "I can't come, I'm exhausted this week," you'd probably say, "Totally fine, no worries." So why is it different when you're the one saying it? What do I actually need right now? This question is deceptively simple. People pleasers are so focused on what the other person needs that they genuinely forget to ask themselves this. What do you need? What would actually be good for you right now? When you run the automatic thought through these questions, it usually starts to fall apart. Because most of the time, the fear is much bigger than the actual risk. The thought, "They'll hate me if I say no," sounds true when it's just floating around in your head. But when you actually examine it, you realize it's an exaggeration your brain invented to keep you compliant. Or maybe it's your family. Someone calls and invites you to something you absolutely dread, and instead of saying you're busy, you spend the next 3 weeks dreading it, then show up miserable, then feel resentful the whole time. Or it's a friend who keeps asking for favors, and you keep saying yes, even though you're starting to feel like the relationship only flows in one direction. These situations feel different on the surface, but they all come from the same place. So why does this happen? Why is saying no so genuinely hard for so many people? The short answer is that your brain learned it was dangerous. Humans are wired for belonging. Thousands of years ago, being rejected from the group was basically a death sentence. You needed other people to survive. So your nervous system developed a very strong alarm system around social rejection. When someone asks you for something and you feel the urge to say no, that alarm goes off. Your body reads it as a threat. And to turn off the alarm, you say yes. But there's more to it than just evolution. A lot of people pleasers grew up in environments where their needs weren't really safe to express. Maybe saying no led to conflict or coldness or being labeled difficult. Maybe love in your household felt conditional, like you had to earn it by being agreeable, helpful, low maintenance. So you learned early that keeping people happy was how you kept yourself emotionally safe. That's not a character flaw. That's a really smart adaptation to a hard situation. The problem is that you're still running that old program in situations where it doesn't apply anymore, and society makes it worse. There's a whole cultural script that says being agreeable is a virtue, especially for women, but honestly, for everyone. She's so sweet, she never complains. He's such a team player, always willing to help. We get rewarded for people-pleasing, which means the behavior gets reinforced over and over until it becomes automatic. But here's what that automatic yes is actually costing you. The most obvious cost is resentment. When you keep saying yes to things you don't want to do, the resentment doesn't disappear. It just goes underground. You start feeling irritated at the people you're helping. You feel taken advantage of, even when the other person didn't do anything wrong, because they had no idea you wanted to say no. That resentment leaks out in small ways. Passive comments, pulling back emotionally. Eventually, people-pleasing actually damages the relationships you were trying to protect. Then there's burnout. When you never say no, your time and energy get eaten up by everyone else's priorities. Your own goals, your own rest, your own needs, those get pushed to the end of the list indefinitely. And anxiety. Research shows that chronic people-pleasing is closely linked to elevated cortisol levels, that's your stress hormone, and higher rates of anxiety and depression. Because you're constantly managing other people's emotions while ignoring your own. Your nervous system is working overtime, all the time. And maybe the quietest cost of all is that you start losing yourself. When every decision is filtered through, what does this person want from me? You stop knowing what you actually want. Your preferences, your opinions, your sense of who you are, it gets blurry. And that's a really disorienting place to live. So now that we understand the problem, let's actually fix it. Because CBT gives us a really clear framework for this, and it works. The whole idea behind CBT is that your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors are all connected. You have an automatic thought, that thought creates a feeling, and that feeling drives the behavior. So if you want to change the behavior, in this case, automatically saying yes, you have to go back and work on the thought that's driving it. And the good news is, those thoughts are not facts. They just feel like facts. The first CBT tool is awareness. You have to catch the automatic thought before it runs the show. Here's what happens in real time when someone makes a request. The request comes in, and within a fraction of a second, your brain fires off an automatic thought. Something like, if I say no, they'll think I'm selfish, or they'll be upset with me, or I should be able to handle this. These thoughts happen so fast that most people don't even notice them. They just feel the anxiety and respond to it by saying yes. So the first step is simply to slow down enough to notice what your brain is actually telling you. One way to practice this is to start paying attention to how your body responds when a request comes in. Do you feel a tightening in your chest? A little spike of dread? That physical sensation is often the first sign that an automatic thought just fired. When you notice it, pause. Even just a 2-second pause. And ask yourself, what did I just assume would happen if I said no? Get that thought out in the open where you can actually look at it. But catching the thought is only the beginning. The real work is in what you do with it next. The second tool is cognitive restructuring, which is just a fancy way of saying you challenge the thought. You don't just accept it as true, you put it on trial. So let's say the automatic thought is, if I say no, she'll be angry with me and think I'm a bad friend. Okay, let's actually examine that. A few questions that are really useful here. What's the realistic worst case? Not the catastrophic imagined version. The realistic one. Would your friend actually end the friendship because you said you couldn't make it to one thing? Probably not. And if she did, what does that tell you about the friendship? All right, that's it for today's video. The most important part, taking one small action. Try the exercise we covered and notice how it feels. If you found this helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more practical, science-backed psychology tools every week. Drop a comment below. What's one situation where you struggle the most with? I read every single comment. Thank you for watching. You're taking a real step toward a better mind and better life. See you in the next video. Take care.